When I think of Chuck, Chuck is always out there for the underdog. He's always out there to help someone.
Yeah, I'm sure in a lot of ways it was a surprise to him to get an award like this, just because so much of what he does is really behind the scenes. Not done for people to see or to impress anybody, but literally just because he sees a need and responds to it.
But yeah, it's just very much in his DNA. I mean, it's just how he's wired. He sees, as we were talking earlier, he in response to seeing people as made in God's image, he sees it as people as having infinite worth and everybody worthy of pouring into, regardless of what he can get in return.
And I got to hang out with him one day, and we just basically went and visited a lot of the different villages. And when Chuck went to some of these villages, he could speak Spanish, and he knew those kids because he had been there before. He called them by names. The smile came to their face as soon as they saw him, and he felt that was his mission, was to be able to communicate and to speak their language. So it was real heartwarming to spend the day with him there, and very moving as well.
The EALP program being something that he was most proud of or most excited with the result of it, the fruit of it. It was a scholarship program where working with kids whose parents had never been to college, so first generation families, again having a generational impact to get kids to go to college for the first time within a family, and they would get universities and or businesses. I think it was businesses to donate business supplies that would then be donated to these universities in exchange for scholarships. And I don't know, maybe 50 kids had come through that program, and they'd work with them even from, I think, middle school. They would start working with them and kind of preparing them to be ready for college. Because again, that's a big cultural change if you've not had a parent who's gone through that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just to think of, again, you're impacting future generations forever with that program. He was always really excited to be able to bring that to Greene County. Something that was pretty special to him.
Want anyone to know what he's doing. He doesn't want or think he deserves the credit for it or want the credit for it. But in Habitat for Humanity, he's involved. Up at the church, he's involved. But most of the ways he's involved is just by being there, and a lot of times encouraging other people. A lot of times letting people know that you can do this. You can make a difference. And I've just always enjoyed watching and appreciate, the difference that Chuck has made in people's lives.
It's easy sometimes to go and be a hero out in the community and then kind of neglect things on the home front, but I feel like, anytime I've ever needed him, as long as I maybe give him 15 minutes notice, he's pretty much on his way over to help, which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah. For me, one thing that sticks out, I was probably 5 years old being at Rain Day, and somehow he was in a fundraiser. I can't remember exactly what, but they had various people locked up, and you could either pay money to, keep them in jail or pay money to get them out of jail. And I remember, just wanting to hang out with my dad, and one of my best friends at the time, I think I borrowed a quarter or something off of him to pay to get my dad out of jail, and he pretended that was the exact amount he needed to get out. And I just remember feeling like $1 million, that I got my dad out of jail, and I remember him taking me around Rain Day and just feeling so good about that. But for me, he definitely wants to create those special moments, and certainly he did that for me at various times, and made a big impact to feel loved and cared for by your dad.
That he was the recipient of the DSA award for this year. And he had a stunned look on his face. Well, certainly that couldn't be me, because there are many, many people that are deserving of this award more than me. And, he tears formed in his eyes, and he began to cry. He is just that humble of a person, and didn't feel as though what he has done should qualify for the award.
I guess for me, it's just gratitude, just grateful to Dad for his example and for challenging me to think about people and just having a bigger vision for life than just trying to make a good living and care for your family. But his life, in my mind, is one of just always looking outside and looking at people who don't have what we have and trying to figure out a way to bless them and help them. I feel like that's a lasting impact that he certainly had on my life, and one that I want to pass on to our kids. Again, back to what you were saying, Dave, I mean, it really does come from his faith in Christ, trying to model that out in a very authentic way that you just don't see every day.
Yeah, for me, it's the same. Just how intentional he was at seeing everything as an opportunity to honor God and to build God's kingdom. And again, whether that's helping someone pay a parking ticket to being on a board of some large organization trying to move it forward. He saw it all as having value and modeled that it all makes a difference for God's kingdom when you're doing it with the right purpose and that in mind. So.
Yeah, just feeding off what you were saying, I do really feel like he's always had more of an outward focus. It's pretty easy with 3 young kids at home and trying to run a business and all those things to be focused on yourself and everything you have to do just to keep food on the table and keep your marriage going. But even in the midst of that, I feel like he consistently looked for ways to serve others and contribute to the community, which is pretty amazing. He just had a lot of energy, it seemed, to do those things, and was energized by doing those things. And I feel like he set a great example for us. So.